This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. Progressive Liberal Party Senator Clay Sweeting urging the government to implement an economic plan for Bahamians who will be left unemployed after Carnival Princess Cruise Line announced suspensions of its operations for 2 months due to the coronavirus. In his contribution in the Senate today, Mr. Sweeting says the 2-month shutdown will affect 200 Eleutherians.
I got a message a few minutes ago in regards to Princess Cruise Line suspending all 18 of their cruise ships for 2 months, traveling, of course, to the Bahamas. And the reason that I want to address this is because this would directly or indirectly affect 200 people in South Eleuthera in regards to Princess Keys. So my question is, does the government have some type of economic plan to assist persons in unstable economic conditions such as South Eleuthera, which really Princess Keys employs a majority of the people in the depressed South? So I just wanted to make mention of that because I think that the government really needs to look at that, because for 2 months we will have 200 people that depend on that little bit of money to provide for their families, pay school fees and things of that sort.
The cruise line announced its shutdown of the Princess Cruise Line of ships after 2 of them became hotspots for the spread of COVID-19. This also comes days after the U.S. State Department warned its citizens against traveling on cruise ships, citing increased risk of infection of the virus in a ship environment. On Carnival's website, it explains that the shutdown is a proactive response to the unpredictable circumstances evolving from the global spread of the coronavirus. Princess Cruise Lines add that its voluntary pause of global operations will affect its 18 cruise ships from March 12th to May 10th. Princess Cruise Line says it will be back in operation beginning May 11th, 2020. The government of the Bahamas has denied entrance of the Braemar cruise ship carrying 5 persons who have been tested positive for the COVID-19 coronavirus. A statement from Cabinet says it will not allow the cruise line to dock in the Bahamas, and passengers and crew will not be allowed to disembark. This comes after the cruise lines confirmed on its website that the ship, which was due to end its Western Caribbean and Central America cruise today in Barbados, had changed course following a cautious response from the Barbadian authorities and is now heading towards the Bahamas, its flag state. Fred Olson, the cruise, said it was then working with the Bahamas, the UK government, UK Chamber of Shipping and Public Health England to ensure that all guests can return home as soon as possible. On Wednesday, while docked in Curacao, 5 people on board were tested positive for the virus, including 4 crew and 1 guest. According to a statement from the Ministry of Transport, this decision to deny entrance of the cruise line was based on consideration for the protection of the health and safety of the Bahamian people and residents of the Bahamas. The statement says the Bahamas Maritime Authority has been in constant communication with the owners of the Braemar, which is a Bahamas-flagged ship. Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands has had enough of the fake news and misinformation circulating social media on coronavirus COVID-19. Just yesterday, the World Health Organization officially declared COVID-19 a pandemic, meaning that the disease has spread to enough countries to be considered to have a global or worldwide effect. There are 125,288 confirmed cases of the virus, and the death toll is now up to 4,614, with 118 countries with infections. Dr. Sands confirmed that the Ministry of Health has tested 2 people so far in the Bahamas, an American male and Jamaican woman, who both tested negative for COVID-19. Despite the obvious seriousness of the virus, Dr. Sands says that misinformation has become a very large problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is an issue of perspective. This is being fueled by fear, misinformation, disinformation. So if you look outside of China, Korea, Italy, and Iran, the number of deaths is very, very low.
Just yesterday on his Facebook page, Dr. Sands debunked the rumor that the Bahamas has confirmed their first case of COVID-19. In his press conference yesterday, the minister adamantly pointed out that no cases have been confirmed and there are also no suspected cases in the Bahamas.
So what we need to do is to do all that we can to allay fears. When I call out the media, whether that's social media or conventional media, my big concern is not so much reporting the facts. It is misleading or lying to the public. So when you say that there is a case of COVID-19 at the Rand or at Princess Margaret Hospital and there is not, then I consider you irresponsible and malicious, because now you're feeding to the public's fear. When you say that somebody has dropped dead from COVID-19 and you have no idea of the clinical history of that patient, you are feeding into panic and fear.
In his meeting with the straw market vendors, Dr. Sands stated that the Ministry of Health has nothing to hide, will be honest with the public, and will release all information given to them as the COVID-19 situation changes. Shifting gears, a tragic boating accident in Exuma has left a tourist dead, the incident occurring shortly after 9 last night. Police in their reporting say a male was operating in waters off Stalking Island, Exuma, when he collided with a dinghy, which resulted in a Caucasian male being thrown into the water. The male was pulled from the water and transported to the Georgetown dock, where he succumbed to his injuries sustained. Police say an autopsy will be performed to determine the exact cause of death as investigations continue. Our final stories are up next.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.